okay.
Let me know.
Look, Ashlee just taking control.
Because I was super excited about
I
it.
can use it, man. I'm tired.
Because
that's why I was like,
Andy,
I was
we're good?
if we did this episode with me and Ashlee, honestly, I swear, and I'd be so bored if me and Ashlee were just doing an episode because it's been a long 3 days. I would have honestly probably just canceled it.
Thank you.
There's so many times not so many, but there have been times I'm just like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
Or he'll
and not because I don't want to. It's
talk
just
the
I'm
whole
so
time, and I was
tired.
like, my thoughts are limited. It's like motherhood.
I've given you everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Absolutely. So
90% of the time, I love doing episodes with her. But when I've been,
when you're
in planes
fried,
all week, and I did a solo episode today, so it was like
you've been talking.
Yeah. But now I can investigate. And this is different.
It is different because it's a lot of fun.
And we've got a topic.
You guys need a straw? Or are you guys good?
I'm good.
I'm good. Thank you, Nancy.
So we were talking before you came in, and I was like,
welcome
I had to pause.
everybody to Beyond I Do.
Welcome to Beyond I Do.
Man, we're honored to be here.
Yeah. Okay. Let's introduce our guests. Go ahead. You go.
We got Sammy in the house. So
What's
many
up,
people
guys?
watch Beyond the Letter.
What's up?
Yes.
Many people watch Beyond the Letter know Sammy, but you may not know him. Not everyone listens to Beyond the Letter. Some people only listen to Beyond I Do.
Okay.
So men tend to listen to Beyond the Letter. Women tend to listen to Beyond I Do.
All right.
And then there's like a
little mix.
It's like but it's like probably like a 65, 35, 60, 40, where it's like one's female bent, one's male bent.
Yeah.
So that being said, we know Sammy. Many know Sammy Rodriguez, and then we have his wife,
his beautiful
Chandler.
wife,
the one and only.
The one and only Chandler.
I'm new here, so I'm looking like which camera.
Your camera's that one.
Your camera's the one.
This one.
Yeah.
Cheers.
You see the.
You can look at us.
Yeah. You don't have to look.
You don't have to look at this camera.
It's her
acting background. That's what it is.
See?
Yeah.
So
are we able to do that?
Oh, let's circle back to it. Let's do it.
Because are you on contract, or are you allowed to talk about?
No, I'm not contract.
Okay.
I mean, I might use some fun language.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Disney stuff.
Disney.
So I didn't know this.
Oh, you guys were talking about. Were you recording when you talked about it?
No, I made us stop talking
it,
about it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I said my husband may be interested in this because we were talking about Disney passes and who has Disney passes. You guys are going tonight. How exciting. But I am a undercover now because I feel like maturity comes.
Right.
Disney adult.
Okay. Amen.
Oh,
Amen.
it was
Ashley, I love that about you.
If Adam, the amount of I told you would love his expression.
Yeah.
I'm so
I
happy
love
about this. Obviously, if you're not watching, Adam's face was pure.
Yeah. For sure.
We've spent a lot of money on like my Disney adulting.
Yeah.
I was the
Her
backpack.
road to maturity.
Yes, I was the backpack, the jackets.
What's
the
that for?
pins.
Something Fly. What's that brand that makes all those little backpacks? Something Fly.
Lounge Fly.
Lounge Fly.
Yeah.
The little
Yes.
Lounge Fly backpacks.
So I had every Lounge Fly. I had the pins. I wanted to do pictures with the character.
She wanted to do this ugly
You wanted
vest
the
with all the little
autographs.
pins
with
on
all
it.
the pins on it. I wanted the
Yes.
autographs,
that's
everything. Like I loved the characters.
Yeah.
We would do the parades. I'd get my space.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
How about Club 33? You want it?
I've been twice.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you been?
Been blessed,
Yeah,
not
okay.
because it's favor of
Yeah.
God.
Hey, won't he do it?
Favor
Won't
ain't
he
fair.
do it?
But it ain't
Literally.
easy.
Okay, wait. 33
Yeah.
Club 33. Was
Yes.
it cool?
It's an experience.
It's
It
an
really
experience.
is.
Yeah, let me
You were
qualify.
there.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, it's
Okay.
my buddy who's a member. Yeah,
He's more reality. I live in fantasy, so I'm like,
I'm friends with real life business people.
Right.
Who actually
are
have,
members.
She's friends with
who are
Disney
me-
characters,
Yes.
right?
yeah, so it's Mickey.
She would never have a friend.
And Tinkerbell.
Yeah. So yeah, like
Love Tink.
I won't say too much because people may ask me, "Can you get me in?" The short answer is no.
No.
But because he's a businessman and he uses it for business. So
Amazing. Amazing.
but yeah, he's one of my closest friends. He has a membership to
Yeah.
Club
Yeah.
33, and he's had one for a few years.
So cool.
So we
cool.
have probably 5 years ago is when he got it, and so he offers me all the time. I don't know if we're going in a couple weeks, Club 33 when we all hang out, but. Basically we went and it's amazing, but here's why I said, because I had a friend, a pastor friend, who I got him in, and he was like, hey, did I experience Club 33? And I was just like, did you go to the door? Did you check in? Did you go to the restaurant? Did you? Yeah, I did all that stuff. I said, yeah, you experienced Club 33. And he was like,
It was a restaurant.
So what was so special?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
You didn't know. Oh my gosh.
But I mean, like,
But
he didn't realize how
exclusive it
because
was?
he's not Disney people. His wife's not Disney people.
Okay.
did you tell him to lose your number? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, bro, I was like,
You're like, dude, how you gonna say that? You got him into one of the most exclusive.
well, yeah, and it's like if you're gonna go, at the end of the day, it's probably gonna come out to maybe 300 to 400 a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So-
I didn't know that.
So if you bring a family of 5, you're gonna probably spend like
Yeah, for sure.
$2,300. And I didn't really.
know
I don't think I
that.
told
Yeah.
him that size. I told him it's expensive.
Yeah.
And I told him, you go do the research. You let me know, like,
Yeah,
because I'm
for
not
sure.
there to. And he was like, yeah.
Man, what an offer
we'll
though.
go.
That's a big time offer
So he
that you
was
got
like,
him in.
I didn't know it was so. He was like, it was so expensive for food, and I was like, no, it's not just that,
Yeah,
and this
the
and that,
experience.
and so I tried to explain. He just wasn't. He didn't.
He didn't know.
He
He
was
didn't know, and he
Yeah.
didn't really. He was just like, oh,
Appreciate.
well,
Yeah.
you know. Thank you, because I was expecting him to be like, bro,
And, aw, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so like a
This
month later,
exclusive thing. Yes.
a month later, it occurs to me like he never texts me, and I'm never the person that's like, like, hey, you got to thank me or whatever. That
Right.
means nothing to me.
Yeah.
But
But
I
Club
just wanted,
33,
I just
you
wanted
better
to make
yeah.
sure
Oh,
he
yeah.
went.
Right,
Did you
right.
go? What was the
Yeah, yeah,
experience?
yeah.
You
I just
liked
wanted to
it?
make. I didn't
Just
need
a
him to
little
say
check-in?
thank you. It was just like I didn't hear anything after.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, so I just texted him like, hey, bro, hey man, I forgot to. Did you ever go to Club 33? And he was like, well, I think so. And then
That
that's what
is
started the whole
funny.
like. And I was like, oh, he don't care.
He doesn't know.
we'll
He
go.
doesn't
You
know.
don't know.
We'll
You
go.
don't know.
We'll go one of these days.
One of
but
these days.
Where this all started
I
was.
could take you guys.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Let's do it.
She's gonna hold me
Yeah,
to
she
it.
is. She's
I
so
probably
excited.
should have.
Yeah.
Well, let me check with my friend. Yeah. Let me ask my friend.
30 days from now.
Let me check
Right, yeah, we're going.
Calendar?
Let me check with my friend.
We were
first.
talking, and I just mentioned because I
You
think
know him though. He likes you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's the Lord. It's the Lord.
The Lord's giving you
opens
a
the door.
word right
Amen.
now on who it is. You're just gonna happen to text him later on.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm just thinking about you. Can I pray for you?
about you.
Oh, I have a word for you.
Okay, so we talked. I didn't know that. Ashley didn't know that Chandler was Tinkerbell. I told you, right? Didn't I tell you? I did,
Oh,
right?
I'm known for
So-
years.
But she didn't know that that Chandler was Tinkerbell at Disney.
No, that Chandler was friends
Yeah,
with
I was going to
Tinkerbell.
stop
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to stop
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
very
Yeah.
briefly. For all of you out there who don't know, there is only one Tinkerbell,
Okay.
and
That lives in the world.
That lives in the world. She is a tiny little fairy, and so as we're talking, just know that for Disney integrity,
Right.
I was
Wow.
friends with Tinkerbell.
You were friends with
Yeah.
Tinkerbell.
I was friends.
And
so
when I met Chandler, which we might talk about, she starts using all this language because she was working at Disney World. She said, "Oh, I'm friends with Tink," and I'm like, "Dude, is this girl crazy?"
you're like,
I don't know.
You're friends with
I'm
an
like,
imaginary-
I'm like,
your
you're friends
friend
with.
is
I'm like, that's
performing.
cool though. I'll get her delivered. That's,
right.
we still going forward. No,
Yeah.
But then she kind of explained it's super serious. Like if you
It's
say
very
you're
serious.
that,
oh, you'll
if-
get fired.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
pretty crazy.
sure.
I feel like I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I'm not contract
That's
with
why I-
Disney.
yeah, I
not
was like,
contract.
well, No, but
and
she's
I'm not
fine,
planning-
she's fine.
And I've aged out now, so I can't go back and be Tinkerbell. So
Who could you be if you signed up today?
maybe like a fairy godmother, one of the
No,
old ladies.
stop it.
And like the little skates.
You could totally still be Tink.
I'm
friends with
33.
Tink.
I'm 33. I did it when I was
Chandler has attained her
20,
youth for
you
sure.
know?
Yeah,
she does.
You
She
got
does.
it, Mama.
But you want to know why he makes this very special?
What?
My favorite movie's Peter Pan.
Is it? Wow.
So, like, when you said it, I was like,
Wow. Did you grow up loving Peter Pan?
Love Peter Pan.
Wow.
Love Peter Pan and Jungle Book, 2 favorites.
Hey, that's me and Sammy together.
Yeah. I
love
Sammy
it.
is Mowgli.
Yep.
I love it. Yeah, that's my absolute favorite. But no, when it
What's
comes
my favorite Disney movie?
shoot, dag.
Lion King.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I have one.
Gotta say, what have you watched?
I approach them all equally as good, great. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
No,
I don't
not one
think-
sticks out to be like my childhood. I don't.
Our daughter Pippa
You know.
loves Moana. Watches it.
yes.
Moana's
Moana's great.
pretty fire.
I love
Yeah, it was good.
Moana.
Moana
good.
2 is one of the worst movies I've
Is
ever
it really?
seen.
Okay,
but-
thank you for telling us.
terrible.
We got to
Like,
prepare
okay.
for
You
it. We
guys
haven't
might
seen
love it. Heron, who's Polynesian, he's like, it was brilliant. And I'm like, well, I must not be. I'm not Polynesian. So there must be a side of things I'm looking at.
But it's
you know,
also
that's like,
Lin-Manuel
you know.
Miranda didn't write
Right,
the music.
the music.
Yes.
So, and you can tell.
Yes.
You could tell.
You can
And
tell.
I
heard
don't
that.
like Lin-Manuel Miranda,
You
not as a
don't?
person. I don't
Like
care for
his-
his craft. But But I noticed it in Moana too, and I hated it. So maybe I do like
Okay,
it.
hold on.
I think you do.
Like I think I do.
Do you not like Hamilton? Are you not a Hamilton fan?
He loves Hamilton because it educated his wife.
I like history.
It's very.
I got into history after that. I was like, let me buy some books.
Yeah.
That's funny.
In short, no, I don't care for Hamilton.
Okay.
Well, here's part of it too. Is I don't think they have good hip hop delivery because they're like.
Musical.
Yeah.
They're musical guys.
It's more like spoken word.
Spoken word.
So it comes off a little bit more like battle rap than anything.
Okay.
Which like I'm not the biggest battle rap
For sure.
fan.
Right.
You know, I love rap.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the battle rap vibes and the storyline and how they're telling the story of Hamilton and every other character and stuff like that. I love.
Beautiful.
I'm a big
Yeah.
history and I love Broadway shows. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, I like the art of it, but I understand why Lin
people
Miranda's
love it.
like a world-renowned name now because
For
of
sure.
that. But like In the Heights was horrible in my opinion.
You didn't like it? You didn't like it?
No, and it's just not my style. I don't
Yeah,
like
for
it.
sure,
You know,
for sure.
parts of he did Encanto, right?
Yes, he did.
Yes,
I
yeah.
like Encanto.
So
I did.
it's like
Encanto's fire.
there's parts of it that I
Yeah.
like, there's parts of it that I don't. I just
Yep.
like I love his style sometimes, and then
Yeah,
other
for
times I
sure.
just go. I could listen to something. I go, oh, that's Lin Manuel. I'm not.
Yeah, we're
I'm like,
we're
eh.
cousins somehow because it's Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican, so
Yeah.
somehow
Oh,
we're
yeah,
cousins.
yeah,
you're
family.
related.
Yeah, we're related.
You're friends.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
friends.
Yeah,
But if I say I'm friends, that means I'm
yeah,
acting
yeah.
like him. That would be a little crazy.
Shout
But
out to
again,
you,
I
Lynn.
think probably in theory I love him because this last Moana was
Bad.
We needed
I'm
him.
sure people loved it, but
Yeah, for sure.
well, and they told me they used like real Polynesians as like musicians this time to compose because Lin Miranda also composed the last one.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So apparently
He's a beast.
Real
Yeah.
Polynesians composed number 2.
Wow.
Okay.
And then 2 white girls wrote the music to it. But so I guess Lin Manuel probably did the like what we would think would be Polynesian,
Yeah.
which is why we all loved it.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 is like what people who are really Polynesian would listen
Yeah,
to.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
I think then for mass
interesting.
market, you shouldn't do that.
Well,
you know?
well, and then you have 2 white girls write it. It's kind of funny.
Well, that part.
I'm like, wait, what?
You're like,
Okay,
Just
but
mixed
the
it in.
songs were bad.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just were
Were.
not good. Nobody's singing them.
yeah,
I
but-
can't wait to hear.
Yeah,
I
I'm
haven't
excited.
heard any of the music.
Yeah, we haven't listened
How
or
have you
watched
guys
it
not watched 2 yet?
because we got little babies that
Don't want
don't to sit through a movie. So we're gonna watch it.
Well, that's the problem because the age Pippa is like she likes what she's familiar with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
So when
sure.
you because there would be times with my boys, I'd be like, "This is number 2 and 3," and I'd show it,
And they're
and they
over it.
wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it would be like that one specific
Exactly.
Toy Story
Yeah.
play it over
Exactly.
and over and
Yeah.
over because
It's
they
so
know
true.
it. You know.
It's so true.
yeah, but
Season of life you
See.
guys are in. You mentioned so you got Maverick,
Yep.
yeah.
newborn,
We have a 4-month-old Maverick.
who's like the biggest nugget you've ever seen in your
Guys,
life.
he's a
If
big
you said
boy.
you said 4, and I was like,
4 months.
no, he's
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, yeah.
We went to the
4
doctor.
going on 9 years
and
old.
he is off the charts. And
he really?
he's like in the
Yeah.
90s
That's
in
crazy.
weight, but he's off the charts in height. So he's a big boy.
So he's out 100 percentile.
He is 100%.
He came out of the womb looking like you know the
was-
babies
Oh,
in
yeah.
movie.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
in a movie when the woman gives birth and all of a sudden it's like a 6-month-old.
Yeah.
It's like, but
was
that's
yours.
literally
That
yeah.
was
what he
Maverick.
looked like.
Well, I
Yeah.
got induced because he was measuring so big in the womb. So this
crazy.
is what's crazy is that with Pippa, our 2-year-old,
Yeah.
she was a week late, 7 pounds, 2 ounces, petite, cute, healthy nugget. Mav, we had to let that little boy come early because he was almost 9 pounds.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
know.
He was
I
a
know.
big boy.
I,
I know.
I should know this, but I don't know this. What were our sons when
Yeah.
they were born? Would you have known that if she didn't say it?
I remember
You
that
know-
Maverick
you know
was.
Mav,
I knew
like
I knew
9.
Mav was almost 9.
That was 90 days ago.
yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah, but you got your years
Yeah,
out.
no.
You just
Yeah.
know that they were born and they're here.
No,
They were alive.
Yeah, they're good.
Matthias
Everyone's
was
good.
6 pounds, 12 ounces.
Okay.
Thomas was 7 pounds, 15 ounces. He was almost 8 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
and
love it.
and Thomas was early.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That
He
was
was early by like what 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Oh,
He was early by
wow.
2 weeks. So I'm like,
You're
thank
first.
goodness. Second.
Second. Oh,
Thomas
Thomas.
was huge.
Thomas.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
Thomas came out like Maverick too, where
Yeah.
you looked at him and you're like, man,
big boy.
that's a
Yeah,
good sized
yeah.
baby.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to
Grown
worry
baby.
about. You don't have to worry. Matthias was very
Yeah.
tiny.
And
Yeah.
I preached it in sermons before, but Thomas was his paper due date was the 1 year anniversary of her dad's passing. To the day. To the day.
March 21st.
Wow.
So she went to the hospital on her first like checkup, and they, print that little like, scan paper with, all the metrics, and then it said expected due date, and it was the anniversary of her dad's passing by 12 months.
That's so wild.
So he came 2 weeks early, because when you meet Thomas, you're like, oh yeah, you would have come
that makes
2
sense.
weeks early.
That makes sense.
Yeah, bro, you needed your own date.
For sure.
So he's the 10th.
But he is named after
He's
her
March
dad.
10?
Yep.
I'm March 17.
That's yes. And then
St.
Jermaine, I
Patrick's.
think, is March 8th.
Is he?
We don't care about that.
Yeah. He ain't on the pod.
Jermaine,
You're
shout
a
out.
lucky baby.
Jermaine,
Yes,
we don't care.
St. Patrick.
Blessed.
No, okay, so 2 kids.
Yes.
We're here with you guys. Going to be church planning.
Yep.
But on the team,
Yes.
we're going to be church planning Huntington. And then Chandler is doing her master's to be a licensed therapist. And she will
great.
finish,
Love that.
not this summer, but next summer.
Yep.
So very, very full on, but really fun
Yeah,
in what
it's
we're
a fun,
doing.
It's a fun season.
I know.
Here's some context, and I want to hear from Chandler on
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
Because I got questions for Chandler.
Yeah,
I know
this will be
Sammy
so
very
fun.
well.
That's what I'm saying. I'm excited for this.
Yeah. No, I gave you credit the other day with a group of men.
Wow.
And, I think every wife should be very happy when she gets credit. But
100%.
Sammy wasn't there. I don't think Sammy was there.
Oh, wow. Tell me.
So I said,
He's like, what you saying about my wife?
because Ashlee's amazing. And I would tell her if she had issues in this particular area, and she
Just
doesn't.
my eyes. Everyone's commenting.
Oh, my
Your
goodness.
sleepy eye.
I think I did hear about that, actually.
It's gotten around the waves. There's been rumors.
There's been rumors.
I did tell Chandler. I was like, it was funny. It was good. It was a good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for context, some context, and they can fill in whatever else.
Yeah.
But Sammy, for over decades, has worked in like what we would call the parachurch ministry stuff. So he'd work for nonprofits, organizations that work alongside churches. They do, college revivals, or they do arena crusades, and always kind of aligned. So much more of a missionary mindset, and you're now in this new season where like you're on our team, and so going more into, you've always been a pastor, but like that pastoral more track of like actually home base and all that kind of stuff like that, and then Chandler comes alongside and working on her degree in marriage family therapy, and obviously her own gifts and background and stuff like that. But one of the things I've noticed in such a short time with Sammy, which is very rare, it's something I've only seen with my wife. I think I was talking to you about it. I was talking to a group of people, and I said, it's very rare that I've met someone else like this, where I will message Sammy and be like, hey, can you do dinner tonight? Or, hey, can you come to this thing? Or, hey, would you be available for this? And he goes, I'm in. Let me just let Chandler know. And you have been so freeing in like the chaos of life that you let your husband, like as he's stepping into something big. A lot of other people I know, they'd be like, no, I can't. Or I talked to Chandler, she's not good with it. And it's like, you guys got a newborn, you got a lot going on. And I've only ever met with Ashlee that she's like, I trust you enough that when you say yes to something, it's because you've weighed all the possibilities. I'm not gonna. And there's only a couple times, and we've talked about it before, where she'll be like, hey, I know you want to do, but like, I'm tired, I can't. And then I'll be like, okay, for sure. But 90% of the time, there's
like,
never a fear in my head that like, someone could text me today and be like, hey, can you be at Orange County for dinner tomorrow? We got some pastors. And I know immediately, if I look at the calendar, I could be like, I could do it. I don't go like, oh, I don't. Ashlee's going to be so mad at me. And I'll do it. But then that means I'm going to come home and I'm going to get like the ice cold shoulder or whatever it is. And it's like, I was like, man,
That has happened, but we'll get into it.
Well, yeah. And I'm sure it does. And but it's like majority though, I live in this space. And I was like, dang, like it seems like Chandler is very aware not only of herself, but also of her husband's what God has called him to. And very like, hey, you got to do what you got to do right now. Even to the point you guys just recently, you guys had a long week. And then I said, hey, I got a pastor friend. Can you come to this thing with me out in LA? And Sammy was like, let me just double check with Chandler, but I'm in. We'll even leave early and we'll get there. And I was just like, dang, Chandler's like a writer. She's
she ride or die for
I
sure.
was like, that's
she ride or
I
die.
am. Well, this
You know.
thing that you're talking about, if I didn't say yes, I would feel so sad because I know how much joy that was going to bring him.
Yeah.
But I really mean that.
Yeah.
No,
But, like,
yes, that's
But
good.
I think you
It's
should slow down with that because I don't
Yes.
think a lot of people can, like, when you're
That's
talking about
good.
joy for your spouse,
That's
I'm
good.
sure it's reciprocated on the other end as well.
Yes.
So,
No.
like, if you can stay
Expound
there.
on
Yeah.
that. Yeah, no, that's a good point. First, thank you for saying that. That's super honoring to me because also I feel like that shows me I've grown because I wasn't always like that. I feel like when I first got into Circuit Riders operates beautifully, but it's very like all of a sudden Sammy would be called to, he needed to preach at this church or this event, or someone would call on him to,
Or a meeting.
or a meeting.
Yeah.
And because my background, I was a single girl, up until 24, 25. And so I'm more structured. I'm more, let's plan it. Let's get on the books.
Yeah.
Let me pre-think everything I'm going to say. And so all of a sudden I'm thrown into this environment that I had to get used to. But it was so good because it was the Lord, I think, pruning my heart of control. And to be honest, I remember specifically sitting with Christy Brent. Shout out to Christy Brent. She is a woman in Circuit Riders. She's like the mother of Circuit Riders who's mentored me.
And keep going. But Circuit Riders
Yes.
is a missional organization. It just so you know, under the umbrella of Youth with a Mission, which goes to universities, high schools. It's in Huntington Beach. One of the organizations I helped found. And then keep going. But when you talked about my background was like the parachurch, that missional side.
Yeah.
Chandler had a decade on staff in different churches. So she's done from women's to children's to middle school to youth.
I'm more
So-
structured girl.
So when early days in my 20s, when people would say, "Oh, what if you guys planted a church and all this stuff?" And I was like, "Nah, there ain't no way." Like I always partner. I love the church.
Yeah.
But then she always had that vision, especially when we were together. But anyway, so that's what Circuit Riders. Christy's the mom of,
She's
like the
amazing.
spiritual mother of Circuit Riders.
Wildly prophetic,
But
loves
keep
Jesus
going.
so much. She has a whole story. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But she looked at me and I was telling her I was feeling like I was just struggling with schedule and feeling like out of control. And she was telling me, just giving me a word about being pruned. But then she said, "Chandler, I see this picture." And she said, "It's like you're planted and you're a reed. And a reed, as a plant, it moves back and forth, back and forth. You're stable, you're sturdy, but you need to learn to bend when God says go this way. You need to learn to bend when God said this way." And all of a sudden, I know my husband and his giftings, and I know his calling, and it doesn't look like maybe someone else's calling, that they are going to work only a 9 to 5 and they are going to come home, be here every night. And, like Sammy's calling just looks a little bit different. And so I think that when I partnered with God's original design over my husband, and when I partnered with what God wants to do in Sammy's life in this season, then I was able to move back and forth. Then I was able to be like, okay, because I see how important it is that Sammy goes to this event. I see how important it is that Sammy does go connect. And I also have learned about my husband that he has this gift of like gut unction. And I know that Sammy loves me so much, and he's never going to be like, "I'm just trying to get out of there. I don't want to go hang out with them. I'm over Chandler and these crying babies." Shout out to her Maverick, our little 4-year-old or 4-month-old kid. I know he loves me and honors me, and I trust him in that. And so I know when he's saying, "Chandler, I feel from the Lord, I got to do this," I'm like, okay, I trust you. And then on the other side of that, there's been a time that I've been like, "Listen, I want that for you. Like my desire is for you, but I'm actually at my capacity here." And so then I've learned because I think the opposite swing could be like, go.
I'll just suffer in silence and just hate this whole thing, and
then you explode.
Yeah.
But when you really partner with the Lord, you can be like that reed, bending left to the right, whatever the Lord says. And then it's like then there's like joy in our marriage because we trust each other.
Yeah.
And then, I know that I'm talking a lot.
That's the point.
I wanted to go back on joy.
Just know the difference between like a Q&A and a sermon is podcasts are meant to be long-winded.
I feel like we need a code word when I'm going too long.
No,
there's no such thing.
No, I think I'll say this and then give to you guys is one of our values, because I agree with what you said.
Yeah.
Chandler's just, even though she's learning it early days. When
and I don't know, I think, I don't want to interrupt you, but just add, I think you and I did talk one day, and I don't know if this remembers, but I think I said something like Chandler's like a hood chick, and you were like, she's got some sauce in her, like, because I was like, that's a really hood mentality.
For
like,
sure.
I'm down for my man. I'm right for my, like, I want him to succeed. Like, I know there's going to be sacrifice.
Chandler's
like,
a cultured white girl. She's kind of like off-white. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
And you were like, I think we did talk. We just talked that much, but you were like, she.
It's when I went from Clark to Rodriguez. That's where I went from Clark to Rodriguez. So.
Shalom.
Like that. Rodriguez is like the Superman.
Yeah, Rodriguez. Exactly. So, but I would say, like, for both of us, like, one of our values is we want to be obedient to the word of the Lord over our life individually. But we know that biblically, when you get married, the two do become one. Yes. And as we submit, to each other, as I'm leading in our marriage and our family, but then we're loved, right? My goal, my duty is to, and my joy is to love Chandler as Jesus, laid down his life and loved the church. And then for hers is to submit and respect me, but then doing it together. So even when you invite, there's one swing where it's like, oh, I'm just going to go and I'm going to tell Chandler. And those are moments where I've had to like, oh no, we're going to talk. But then in talking with Chandler, I'm saying, hey, we're doing this for what we're building for our future and to be obedient to what God's asked. So that's how Chandler's always that way, because we believe, especially even from the church plan, all the different stuff we're going to do, we believe there's a call that God has for us together. And when I go, like, this season isn't going to be forever. We're not always going to have a 4-month-old and a 2.5, 3-year-old. So even for our ministry, because again, you guys know us right now with our little kids, pre-kids, we were rolling 24/7 together. So like if we didn't have kids, Chandler would be here as long or longer than I am here. But then knowing that we're building this together. So like, but I appreciate, I think you saying that, it means a lot. And Chandler's she's one of the goats, like she really is.
And everything you're saying too, I think that another mentality that's changed my life and our marriage is that so many times I think that couples can look at each other as almost opposing, like almost against each other. Not
like competition.
Competition. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And I think that my life changed when I realized Sammy's successes are my successes.
I'll be taking all of that.
Sammy's wins are my wins.
Me too.
When he gets to go to Club 33, you're going to Club 33. Exactly. And you're walking in with authority and confidence, and you're like, we're a unit here. We are a unit.
She's like, can I get the shrimp cocktail, please?
Can I have that? Thank you. But I really view that. And so I think that so many wives can often feel like, oh, I'm just at home, I'm just raising our babies, or I'm just fill in the blank. And really, when you come together in a culture of agreement of what God's doing in your units,
for sure,
then it's like, no, Sammy, you go because your wins are my wins. Like what God's doing in your life, He's doing in our family, and I want that.
Yeah, and then on top of that, raising our babies together. Obviously, she's the boss in teaching me how to do it. She's doing her master's to be a licensed therapist. So while doing all, she's got a 4-month-old. She's literally in her master's currently. And so it's just
taking a big, and then for you, like a big career shift, like going into local church ministry.
For sure,
and it's like, you guys are, you're doing the tough three. Like they say, like, whenever I'm doing premarital, they say all, step into these three, but never do them all at the same time. Which one is marriage, new career, and children. And they say, like, just do one at a time.
Yeah.
The time you're going to get in trouble is when you do 2 of the 3 or 3 of the 3, then it's going to be hard. And so you guys are doing 2 of the 3 right now, which is children and like new career, so to say.
For sure.
And you're individually both doing the new career, so to say. So it's like, there's a lot of pressures on that.
Yeah.
But I would even say to that, I think what alleviates that pressure is, again, knowing my husband, knowing his gifting. And I think from the last season we were in to this season that Sammy's in, it's night and day that I see there's a spirit of joy on him because he's doing what he's supposed to do. But I mean, like, Sammy is preaching and he's using his giftings and there's another level and it's the wind of the Holy Spirit behind his back. And so then it makes all of those things, you know, it's just like the read we're talking about. It's like, that sounds impossible to have a baby and to move and new career and a house and all of these stressors. But when it's the Lord, there is a grace. And when there's a wind behind your back from the Holy Ghost, you're like, I can do that. And that's actually way better than last season.
That's so true.
She is preaching.
She is. She's a
I mean it. Like, so
I love
you guys. Love this season.
No, and
this is decaf.
Whether you loved the, like, there's times we love the decision, but the process in it is like it's
hard.
still you know, change is change.
Yes.
So you could be in the
for sure,
you know, like you could be in the happiest moment of your life, but like the altering of habits and proximity and relationships
and moving houses, careers, all that stuff. So I think that it's a lot, but it helps when you have a place, honestly, like Petra and like you guys, where you guys have a vision. Even I remember when you and I sat down and you were saying, hey, we want to not just open up more campuses, but we want to launch out people that are church planners. And then you guys had a value. Part of the reason why you want to do, why you're doing Beyond I Do, I know that we're doing the Beyond I Do nights. Is that public? Do people know about that?
In theory, yes.
In theory.
Like not on this platform, but to the church, I think we share.
But we could cut that out if we need to.
No. Yeah, we're doing Beyond I Do nights.
It's
Okay,
cool.
cool.
It's on there. It's on our little reels.
Yeah, but I don't know half of what's going on.
But I say that I feel like with all the big changes for us, having people that have perspective like yourself, Adam, and you, Ashlee, and what you guys create space for, that's a big thing that we've noticed is like you're creating space for people to rise up in the strength and the beauty of who they are, which I think is just massive. So like it brings us like a ton of joy just to be here. So even in the craziness of change, having that is huge.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear. So for you guys, with like let's say what has been probably, you know, we kind of spoke to it, but for you, what has been maybe the toughest adjustment? And I know we kind of spoke to it, but for clarity for people, you know, Sammy basically changed a new type of whole career, right? He was doing parachurch stuff, but now like full time, you know, local church ministries. That is a big adjustment. And then you guys were living in Huntington Beach. Immediately when Sammy joined the team, I think within 30 days. He's like, we're moving, you know, it's like, and I was even like, wait, you can wait a little bit, you know, you like just drive from like, no, if I'm in, we're going to be in, we're moving to Rancho. I'm like, all right, dog, like that's what I would do. But like,
for sure.
Not everybody, you know, would do something kind of so wild like that. And then your wife's
we moved to the ranch.
Just change everything, right? It's like, and then you get, you know, you're about to have your son, and then now we're 4 months past, and then obviously you guys move, you start like renting a house, and so there's all these, there's been, and then you're working on your master's, and then Sammy joins an entire new team, and so there's like a lot of people, like I know Sammy, but like it's just extended relationship. He don't know anyone else, so even Sammy's like got a couple arguments with people on the team, and it's like that's natural. No matter how much you love,
it happens.
Like there's still, and we laugh about it now, and that's the process. But that's like there's a lot, like. Anyone could take it. Well, I love it, but I just don't like the people. The people's been a challenge. Or I love it, but the city's different. Like, what element of all the change that you've currently experienced has maybe been the hardest, maybe adjustment, hurdle? And I'm not saying what you don't like. So, like,
for sure,
this has been the thing that's kind of we've had to maybe mentally shift or adjust. Like, is there any elements individually for you? And then, like, how have you kind of approached it maritally?
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
You know,
Mamacita, go ahead.
It's so hard. You know, for me, I think my season's unique because not only did we just move to a new place, but I have a newborn. I had a newborn when we moved, and there's something called the newborn bubble, right? That you are, and I am proud to admit, because I am becoming more and more myself and owning the way the Lord's created me and not being shamed. But I am a little psycho mom that is protective. And when I became a mom, this mama bear came inside of me. And I just like, so I say that because I'm in this new place. I'm a mama bear, and it looks like protecting my newborn. I don't want him to get sick. It's flu season. It's, RSV. I had a friend who their child had to go into the hospital and was in the hospital for a really long time. And so I'm really sensitive to those things. And so I'm not like the chillest newborn mom, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And
like you're not okay just taking your son anywhere you're kind of aware of it.
It's more like I don't.
Thomas is gonna be 4, and I'm still a newborn mom.
Okay, we together. We didn't go to Chuck. I was like, I think
we ain't going to Chuck E. Cheese anytime soon. Don't touch that. Hand sanitizer.
I got a story for that, but I'll do it next time. Next
episode.
So I preference all of that because what has happened naturally is that moving into a new place, it can feel a little bit lonely. And so, and it's no one's fault. Like, I think it's just the season of life that I'm in. And that, because Sammy came here and he's working at the church and like hanging with his bros, which I love. I say that with no reluctancy at all or no bitterness. And so for me, it just looked like, I just felt like I don't have like a bunch of friends around me, and I think it's hard because friendship and trust just takes time. And so I'm here like figuring out how to have 2 kids. They're both pretty feral. I love them, but I got this 2-year-old. She literally, I was trying to get ready for this today, and I came in and she had marker all over her little body, all over. She had zebra pajamas on, so she matched her pajamas, and so. But I say that because I think that, I say that because I think that has been a little bit difficult. But Sammy is so good at calling me out of that, like, because I think that sometimes I can swing to a bit of isolation and independence. And Sammy, even yesterday for church, he was, I got mad at Sammy for something, and I was like, well, don't come back for dinner, you stay at church. You stay at church, and I got this.
You stay at God's house.
This is, scoot over. And I said, listen, I'm coming back, and I'm taking you to church. I said, you need Jesus. That's what I texted. I literally said, you need Jesus.
He said, you need Jesus. And then I decided to audio call him while Maverick is wailing in the background. And I was like, I do need Jesus.
That's the best.
And Maverick was like, yeah,
Maverick's like, me too.
Me too. My mom needs Jesus. But Sammy's so good at being like, babe, I know you're going to show up to church and you haven't showered in a few days. I know you're going to show up to church and you might have some spit up on you, but you need people. So go out and be with people. You don't have to look perfect to go. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to, because I think that the temptation is like, I got to come in and like be the best version of myself.
Put this face out and just show my,
but like, let me come in and wipe the sweat of my upper lip. Like I'm sweating out here. And I'm doing my best learning how to be a mom of 2. And I think that's where like God meets us. That's where you make friends. That's where it's like the real, not coming up feeling like, oh, I'm this perfect person. Sure. So I think all that to say is that that like temptation just to be like independent, isolating, that perfect kind of recipe has been a little bit hard for my heart. But then I have Sammy, who's been so good at calling me out in that.
Yeah, and I think it just takes time, right?
It just takes time.
I think like we have. One of the things I told Chandler about even the team that we have here is everyone has just been so incredible.
Amazing.
I mean, we could go around the room here. We could talk about the stuff. Like that's just who Patriot is. That's what you guys have created. So it's not like, oh, I'm coming into a place where people don't want to hang and do all that stuff.
Yes.
Or they're like, oh, we want to keep it at arm's length. That hasn't happened once for me or for Chandler, Pippa, Maverick. I think it's just the practicality of like some of the hardest for me practically is just like, our son isn't really sleeping. And then we're also figuring out all this stuff. So it's just like the practical of like, we want to hang with people. But then when we're done and put him down, we're just like tired and like just figure. So I think some of it just like.
It's a season.
It's a season. It's a pure season.
And I think Chandler said it. It's like trust and friendships takes time. So it does, you just need time together. You need moments together, which is like where we're kind of like going into and getting into. So to me, I think that's where there's been a challenge. But part of the exciting thing about what we're doing, what I'm doing, but both of us together is, with the residency is to be able to have that to learn. Like you said, I've been from parachurch and I'm in local, but it gives us time and space because yes, we could have gone and planted this here. But I just don't think there would have been wisdom for us in the season of having a 2.5-year-old and a 4-month-old.
Yeah.
And also, like, even though I know I can and I've been around churches, I want to learn the day-to-day. And to learn from a pillar church in California, really in the U.S., of what Petra is doing and being on the cutting edge and what you guys have created. That's what we'd want to do. So, but some of the hardships is just about stepping into new seasons. But I would just say this, like, hardships will come, but like if we're afraid of what's going to come, or like overthinking, oh, this is going to be a challenge, we won't ever step into our inheritance.
That's right.
Like part of like even what we're going on and talking about at the church is Joshua, right? Your brother just talked, crushed it.
Yes.
And just talking about entering into our inheritance. But that's a big thing of what for Chandler and I is that overall, man, we know that God has an inheritance for us. We have an opportunity to do that, but we need to continue to submit it to the Lord.
Yeah. No, that's really good, and that's great perspective, because I think like even talking about where you guys are talking about season, I think it's Fuego who said it a few times, and I don't know that we ever taught it, but you know, Fuego recently, because you and I, Sammy, have a preaching cohort that we meet every Tuesday and work on our sermons together and stuff. But Fuego has said a couple things at times. I just don't think we've ever used it in our sermons, but he talked about seasons and cycles, and he was like cycles you need to pray out of and you need to break. Right. Seasons you go through.
That's
like,
great.
You know, and so
Great.
I thought as he said that, it just has never made its way into a sermon, but it's like,
I'll do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
I'm
You do
doing
it, yeah, because you don't preach. But
But get ready, she's going to. She is.
He told you?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard you're preaching for the women's event.
Yes.
No.
I'm so excited.
I forgot about that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have to do it?
No, you have
hey,
to.
listen, I've never told you what you had and had to do.
No, you did. You said,
It's
I think
gonna
it'd
be
be
the first
nice.
of many.
Yeah.
I think a fresh start, maybe a Sunday. I feel like it'd
No,
be
I'm
fun.
feeling fresh
That's a
Sunday.
lot.
She would definitely rebuke that.
Oh, yeah. I would come down in cold sweats
yeah.
and fevers.
But I thought whether it's Fuego's original thought or he got it from somewhere, I thought that was a great, that's a great
good.
distinction to be
I
like,
agree.
hey, when
That's
you're
a
going through something and you're
really-
overwhelmed, it's like, is this a cycle or a season? If it's a
Great
season,
language.
you just go through it.
That's
If
so
it's a
good.
cycle,
Great
that we can pray and that we can believe God that it ends and you get freedom and deliverance. But having a newborn, he ain't gonna be a newborn forever.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
it's hard and it's but it's a season.
It's a
you
season.
know?
And I think knowing your season changes your life. Knowing the season God has called you into, because then you can be like, okay, I'm not sad I have a newborn right now. Like, this is the season that the Lord has said over my life. Like, I'm not sad that I'm not working, full time at the church right now, even though I would love to be here.
Yeah.
I'm with my babies at home and doing grad school. And so I think that sometimes people don't know their seasons.
Yeah.
And so there's almost this confusion. So I feel like that's such great language.
Yeah. That's really good.
That's cool. What have you been most excited about going through your schooling and marriage and family therapy? Because you went from Tinkerbell, knowing Tinkerbell,
friends with
to
or whatever.
then you did children's ministry and other things, and that was in Florida, right?
Yeah,
Most
that
of
was
it
in Florida.
and then now it's kind of a little shift. Similar, still ministry, but a shift that okay, I want to go more therapy track. So you're doing it at one of the best schools you can do it, because President Angie Ritchie,
Shout out.
to
she's
She
the
is
best.
a boss.
Yeah, she's
she is
great.
a boss.
President of Light Pacific University.
Yes.
Incredible, not only program but
100%.
teacher
Yep.
and President Angie. And so how has that been, going through therapy schooling? You're about to start your practical hours with us and other things
I'm
at
so
places. So
yes. How's
what?
it been?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been amazing. I feel like going through grad school for psychology and counseling, you do so much work yourself. All of a sudden, literally, I'm on the couch last night talking to Sammy, and then I saw a picture of 4-year-old Chandler, and I'm sobbing on the couch, talking about attachment theory.
I was practicing my being a counselor.
Yes.
Slightly speaking of that, when I was at Light Pacific, I was taking my minor was in child psychology because I was going to be a children's pastor.
Wow.
So my majority of my minor at that time was child psychology.
Wow.
So the psychology professor, I forget her name. It was a German name. She thought I was so odd, by the way I talked and thought about things, that she offered me extra credit if she could, because she was working on her doctorate, if she could psychologically evaluate me after classes.
For real?
And I would get extra credit.
That's fine. You're like 100%.
Yeah.
Yes,
100%. I don't have to do papers.
So
Yes.
during her office hours,
will.
I would go every other week for about 45 minutes.
And she just asked you questions?
She would ask me psychology questions.
That is
And I
amazing.
would just answer.
That's amazing.
Interviewing a genius. That's what it was, right?
No, that was like,
Honestly.
something's wrong with that guy. That's what she's like.
Like, I've never
But I say that to
like
yours
this.
because it's like, as you're reading it, you start
Yes.
seeing it everywhere. And I'm like, I'm
Yes.
pretty sure all the acronyms started dinging in her head when I was talking.
You're
like,
like, oh,
like that guy. Yeah. I got
Tell
some
me
more
more,
questions.
tell
for
me
her.
more.
Yeah. I know that guy's got a lot of stuff going through.
But it's been amazing. It's been good. So I have always kind of had a psychology, been kind of person centered just naturally. And then so long story short, my history, get saved at 17. I know nothing about the Bible, and I read Matthew 28:19, the Great Commission, and I read that as a 17-year-old, and I was like, I've got to gather women in my high school. And so I didn't know anything about the Bible, but I just started having these girls come to my house. And so genuinely what I would do is I would be like, let's talk about anger. I would go to the back of the Bible, and it would say anger, and I would just look up all the verses that said anger, and then I would read a verse and we'd talk about it. And literally that is kind of how I started in ministry. And so
Hey, that's great.
Noted.
You learn correlation really fast.
Right.
Look at that.
People need Bible school to understand the C of OICA, observation, interpretation,
Right.
correlation.
I
It
literally
is, yeah.
was just, and I had no
She
like,
learned it at
and
17.
it just was like, I don't know why, and I mean it was only the Holy Spirit, but I was like, oh, okay, Matthew 28:19, go in, Great Commission.
Yeah.
Can't remember right now, but
Yeah.
we're just gonna keep
You got
going.
it. You got it.
You got
yes,
a 4-month
yes,
old.
yeah.
There's
They're sleep deprived.
Yeah.
But from that, I went to working at a church that they didn't believe in gifts of the Spirit, but I learned a lot of Bible, and then I went to an Acts 29 church and did youth ministry with them. And so they weren't like charismatic. They would say that they believed in maybe like gifts, but I was never taught. And so then I go to circuit riders and I get Holy Ghost wrecked, like learn about, obviously I marry an evangelist, so evangelism becomes a culture piece. I'm passionate about the prophetic, preaching the gospel, all of it. And so I say this because I then start traveling and doing tours with circuit riders and gathering women on university campuses. And I found so much that I would be with women and they would say something to me and I would pray for them, but it was almost like I felt like I was missing a tool. It felt like I was missing and it was like inside, but I didn't know exactly. It was like there was a next step for me.
Yeah.
And so I really felt like the Lord was speaking, like, I want you to learn more about psychology and counseling and helping people and reaching people. And it has changed my life. And we found...
And she says that, but all those girls are weeping every time she's praying. And she's praying for like 5 minutes for one girl.
well,
and
I'm
I'm
gonna
praying for like
say-
20 seconds, like, Lord,
All right, go ahead, go
bless
ahead.
my brother.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Fire of
Get
God.
out of here. Stop dating that girl. Get out of here.
Yeah. And she's like going down there weeping, but
Well, it's changed my life because then I meet Angie Ritchie, and I think everyone who meets Angie is like, my life has changed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she has a doctor. She's a marriage and family therapist, but she's brilliant, passionate about mental health. And in my study, I think that the most simple thing that I have learned that goes into so many conversations is that mental health isn't just our mind, isn't just what we think. It isn't just... So what we say is mental health actually makes up of 5 things. Mental health would be our biology, our genes, epigenetics, where we came from. That's going to play into mental health. It's going to be what's going on in your body. It's going to be your sociology, which looks like your environmental now, your environmental growing up. It's going to look like your spirituality, your relationship with the Lord, because like I said, we would be touring. You can pray, and there's a lot of stories. I learned about deliverance, and that changed my life.
yeah, we got some crazy stories.
And
But
then
keep going.
there is psychology. It's our mind. It's our thoughts. Our thoughts and the thoughts and the mind-body connection are so powerful. And it's like Bible, like take your thoughts captive because
Yeah.
it will change your life. And so I say that because the way I viewed mental health was so, I think, one track.
Yeah.
And so now I think that I see mental health in a holistic approach. And I'm like, you two, I mean, I'm not speaking this over you. I'm just giving an example. You might both be experiencing anxiety, but Adam, you might have a thyroid issue and you might need prayer. And there's a spiritual stronghold.
You had it swapped.
That literally
Ashlee has hyperthyroidism. She has Graves' disease.
So prophetic.
But swap.
You just missed it by 12 inches.
I break up all anxiety. No, I'm not putting anxiety on it. Me too.
Yeah.
But
And Ashlee struggles with anxiety.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Dang, read my whole book here.
So, but I say that.
You guys are here one-on-one.
Yeah.
Ashlee's like, can we stop recording? I need another hour real quick.
But I say that because
it's great.
It's changed my life because the way and then I fully believe and podcast me, take me this. I, again, did not grow up super churched, Holy Ghost, didn't know what it looked like for somebody to be delivered. And then I had an experience with the Holy Ghost of getting delivered at the fear of man. And I was a changed woman after that. Mm-hmm. And so then all of a sudden I started walking in rooms, understanding, actually, I get to put on the power of God, and through the power of the Holy Spirit, we get to see people delivered. Yeah. And so I think it's a holistic. It's not just always this. You need to be delivered, Yeah. And I think that the enemy plays on people who are dealing with mental health issues. Yeah. So that's a long answer.
Great.
To
that's the fabulous answer we were looking for. Now we hit time, so I think maybe we should line up a part two.
That'd be fun.
If you can.
Yes, please.
Then I want to know what psychological disorders Sammy has.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
But that's why she's finally getting her license, so I could fully be delivered. So me, I'm Pentecostal.
She can
I'm
take
like,
care of the whole man.
There's mental health stuff, but
you could solve it, but there'll be more tomorrow.
But we got to get Holy Ghost deliverance coming.
Yeah, we gotta do both ahead.
Yeah. No, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for taking the time.
This space is so fun.
Oh, that was great.
I know. Chandler killed it.
She did.
I'm telling you, she got the sauce, man. She got the sauce.
That's why I got
hard.
decaf. If I start getting actual caffeine,
we may have switched them. I'm kidding.
Yeah. You would be like, Chandler, stop. Just cut it down. Cut it down.
Great.
Mute the mic. No.
Yeah. Right. No, but it was. I think it was so fun.
It's so fun.
My encouragement would be just for a couple like. Marry someone who you want, like you become a power couple, and marry someone who's a strong-willed person and learn to submit to each other and really follow the leading of the Lord. Again, we were talking about the last other organization I've been in where they say certain places will say family over function, but then until you have a function, then you're no longer family. Mm-hmm. And to me, I just think the shift is no, you're running together as one family and moving into what's going to happen. So, but she's got the wisdom and insight for
got the sauce.
She got the sauce.
That's great.
Yeah.
I got to crawl out of my babies are in the other room.
I know.
So I feel like
freedom.
I feel like we're kind of partying
Nancy
right
was
now.
like, "Hey, Chandler and Sammy have to cancel." I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Oh, someone can't watch the kids." And I was like, "That's what we got people on staff for."
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say not having family because we just give it to my parents, like, "Hey, go watch the kids."
That's probably actually the hardest
we appreciate bringing in these wild kids. Hopefully, he wasn't been screaming this whole time.
No.
I'm sure
he has been.
If he was, it's like we've all had kids.
Club 33.
I'll make it happen. I'll send a text message. All right, thanks for joining. Peace.
Bye.